In the early days of Counter-Strike, when the scene was still finding its footing, one name rose above all others. They weren't just a team, they were a phenomenon. Ninjas in Pyjamas was and still is one of the most recognizable names in Counter-Strike. The first team to dominate the scene so completely, they became a myth in real time. 8 months without ever losing a single map on a LAN tournament. How did they do it, and is it still possible today? Let's get into it. Founded in 2000, Ninjas in Pyjamas was one of the original kings of Counter-Strike. Back when CRT monitors ruled and internet cafes were sacred ground, NIP was one of the first organizations that started in Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike 1.6 had a thriving pro scene, but obviously budgets were scarce, and players were still getting to know the scene. The big divide came when Counter-Strike launched Source in 2004, which fractured the community. Many pros stayed loyal to 1.6, and others made the jump to Source. NIP decided to stay with the older version, and after merging with SK Gaming in 2006, we saw a glimpse of two players who will go on to achieve legendary status later down the line. But everything really changed with the launch of CSGO. When CSGO released in August 2012, it was clunky, unpolished, and even unpopular. And while many other legacy teams hesitated, unlike with Counter-Strike Source, NIP saw the opportunity and struck first.
Part of the reason as to why these teams didn't change lineups and why they came over so late to CSGO is because 1.6 didn't actually die when NIP had begun playing CSGO. When they won that first tournament in CSGO in August of 2012, there was still a number of months and a number of 1.6 big-sized tournaments with higher prize purses at times in first place than CSGO.
They rebuilt fast, reuniting Forest and Get Right from SK Gaming, adding Sist, Freiburg, and Fiflaren. This core combined raw mechanical skill from 1.6 with Get Right and Forest with the tactical innovation and utility usage from the other three. They didn't just play the new game, they defined it. While other teams struggled with recoil patterns, economy changes, and movement mechanics, or some even stayed in 1.6, NIP mastered it all. Fast. In the chaos of a new title, the Ninjas brought structure. And within weeks, they were unbeatable. What came next wasn't just a winning streak. It was total domination. It began August 25, 2012, at the SteelSeries Go tournament. Spearheaded by Get Right and Forest, NIP swept their group with massive wins over their group mates. 48 rounds won against 10 in 3 matches. In the semifinals, they won 2 games and only lost 1 round in both. And the other finalists also seemed to be outmatched by the new kings of CSGO. The first prize pool and championship was in, and this sparked an unseen steamroll throughout the Counter-Strike landscape. Over the next 9 straight LAN events, NIP didn't drop a single map. That's 87 in a row across 60 best-of series. When Counter-Strike was at its peak, these guys were the ones that climbed it and stood on top of it. The first time they were finally really challenged was when the legendary Very Games joined CSGO, after staying in 1.6 for a bit too long. During DreamHack in Valencia in 2013, they finally had a match where they didn't completely dominate. They won 2-0, but it was a close series. Until finally, on April 5th, 2013, they faced Virtus Pro, a powerhouse from Eastern Europe sporting some players you might still recognize. In the upper bracket finals of the Star Series 5, Virtus Pro finally broke the streak, and actually doubled down on it when they beat NIP again in the actual finals. The era of the Ninjas' domination was over. During this era, commentators constantly called it NIP magic.
NIP magic, to kind of describe the kind of weird zone that seems to arise when NIP gets deep into a tournament. We're talking like semi-finals, final, where suddenly a lot of factors which in everyday life, sort of the averages, how things play out by the numbers, suddenly seem to get affected by some kind of aura from the NIP players and the NIP team where it warps reality a bit.
The incredible combination of Forest's mechanical dominance, Get Right's lurking, Zist's leadership, Freiburg's consistency, and Fiflaren's open got him a spot in the Guinness World Record book for the longest Counter-Strike winning streak. They did everything to cement themselves as legends of the game, but could this feat ever be recreated? Is there a team that could break this record in this day and age? In 2021, Team Liquid gave it a solid try. Now known for its fluctuating performances, Liquid did reach an apex with a 23-match winning streak. After winning 4 majors and competing in 6 finals, it was an incredible feat, but it still pales in comparison to NIP's 87. In early 2025, Team Vitality also embarked on a journey in what could be the biggest win streak in modern Counter-Strike. They went 30 straight matches on LAN without dropping a series. claiming 6 consecutive S-tier tournament wins. Their best-of-3 win streak hit 34 straight. The streak finally ended with a stunning best-of-1 defeat to Legacy on Inferno at the Blast Austin Major. Once again, an incredible streak, but it doesn't really compare to the massive numbers that NIP put up. But in some way, you can't really compare these two. Back in the day, there were more best-of-1 games. The best-of-3 and best-of-5 format was usually only applied during finals. In today's era, Counter-Strike 2 is more brutal than ever. Meta shifts overnight, Tier 2 teams upsetting legends, utility is more precise, aim mechanics are more unforgiving. The days of a single team winning 87 maps in a row? They're probably gone. NIP's streak wasn't just dominance. It was the perfect storm of timing, talent, and transition. In a game now defined by parity and preparation, such a run will likely remain untouched. Not because today's teams aren't great, but because everyone is. But the Ninjas in Pyjamas and their incredible win streak will stay mythical until the end of Counter-Strike.